Some to the money, so them gone insane. Now them a come with them drugs and cocaine. See them want to do it all over and over again. Now foundation grassroots, you got to know the truth. If you don't know where you're coming from, you don't know where to go. The culture Anthony Selassie, say so. Long ago, long time ago. Yes, long ago. Pirates had their fun. See a book on here. Burning sun. 16 men. 16 men. And a dead man's chest. Yo, yo. And a bottle of rum. Summertime. Yo, yo, yo. Yo. Now every man and a John Hawkins jumps like a bat. They come up on the base and now them come here with them flat. When we push me down the bottom, but we rise up to the top. And now them cannot turn me back because we pull up every gap. Cut me by the belly and the money them a bet. What kind of baby, mama she again. Is it a king, is it a princess? So you see me generation travel through this track. 16 days, 16 days, and a dead man's chest. Yo, 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 yo. Sounds kind of funny, but that's true. Trick with no one cares about the poor black picnic. Down in the back about the boat them sick with. Over with a polyp with them whip with. Don't even mention the big boot kick with. That's why we know we have to get the victory. See them all lock up the come like a chip with. Oh, too slippery. Yo, 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 yo. In the burning sun, 16 men, and a dead man's chest. Yo, 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 yo. Some to the money, so them gone insane. Now them a come with them drugs and cocaine. See them want to do it all over and over again. Yo, 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 yo. Long ago, yes, long ago, pirates had their fun.
Yeah, go ahead, I hear you. Go ahead, I hear you. Yeah, go ahead, I hear you. Hold it till the internet gets some trouble, boy. Hello? Hello? Alright, yeah, look at that. Hello? Yes, good night, good night. Tell me quickly because I have a little meeting right now. Long time ago. Well, come true. Well, it's early, it will come, you say. If tomorrow is Friday, well, I don't understand on Friday. Tomorrow Tuesday, right? Yeah, I go to so pass it tomorrow, yeah, pass it tomorrow. Right. It'll come right. Right, yeah. All right, tell me. That's all. Yes, indeed, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, east, west, north, south, central, or friends in Tobago, and wherever you are streaming on the World Wide Web, a pleasant good day to you. Yes, this is, of course, the Corridor Transformation, your host, Lennox, of course, my colleague next to me. But, of course, tonight it's a special night because what I've done is invited, of course, the entire neighborhood to a meeting tonight. And, of course, I will be engaged in that exercise. But, of course, when I'm finished, because it's a pretty short exercise, I will be, of course, with you afterwards. But, of course, we will, of course, be playing some music in the background, and we will be, of course, having you, of course, engage in the audio aspect of it. So, without further ado, I will go in front of the camera, the back of the camera that is facing me, so that, of course, I can have some discussions, and then I will return shortly. Of course, in the meantime, I'll have my colleague, of course, in the background speaking with you while, of course, I engage in that meeting. You see, you have to multitask, and when you are while you are in demand, not in any facetious or self-serving form, but the fact of the matter is that the community is more important, and that especially where young people are concerned, we must, of course, pay adequate attention, but do it in such a way that is efficacious, that is, of course, convenient to all and sundry, and that you encourage, of course, these young men and women to engage in exercise and activities in their own best interests. They may not see it now, but of course in the future, certainly they will understand that what is happening now, they are laying the foundation or generating the roots of a sustainable development for themselves, their families, their children, and of course the community by extension. So of course in the meantime, we are going to be a bit, you may not be able to hear what we are saying, but of course we will be engaged. All right, so just have a little patience, and I will be with you, of course, shortly. So I'll be in front, as I said, in the front or in the back of the camera that we normally will have at this point in time. Let me, of course, before we do that, let me just introduce my colleague. Yes, indeed, of course. Let me just do that before, of course, I go. Pleasant good night, my friend. Of course, I will be talking. I will be engaging, of course, the young men, women, and the community in the meantime. And of course, during that period, you will do what is required. All right.
Good night. Good night, everybody. Good night to my leader, Lennox Smith. Good night to Kamala, the full cabinet. Good night to Trinidad and Tobago and all the World Wide Web.
You gotta come on my side, to make sure that you're in the picture, man. Right.
World Wide Web, well, they who looking and watching and taking because tonight is a night, you know, we having a little contact with the people on the ground, you know, because you know, as you say, we had to keep this fight going, you know, we can't give up this fight. And this fight is really, for, you know, election down, so we're going to, we need to take over the council department, you know. We need to go full force to all them, to see if we can take over the councillors and them, all them throughout the East-West corridor. We want to control and make the party stronger. Need that vote. So we encouraging everybody to really come out and go. That's why my leader is really meeting with the people on the ground, especially talking with them, dealing with them, trying to find out what's the needs, what they want, what we could do for them, how far we could reach for them to create employment, to create little, to see who could get a little, maybe a little contract and thing, deal with certain ministers, and, you know what I mean, and bring employment in the East-West corridor especially, you know what I mean, and, this is the things we're really looking forward for. Where everybody to get a little taste of it, But we always talking about certain things we like to do with the government, we want the government to do with us, especially for the young ones, to step them, bring them up in a different way, don't leave them behind. So these are the things we are about, to make sure we have a solid foundation on the East-West corridor. And I know, and everybody knows, when I interact with people, everybody say yes. They vote for UNC. Yes, I vote for UNC. And I know that we win in the East-West corridor, but it just didn't give me that victory. I don't know why, but we still fighting to show them that for the councillor part of it and the mayor office, over there we fighting for that, we coming out to fight for them. We want all the seats in the East-West corridor. And I want to know Miss Kamala to know and she team to know love together with the Ambra of UNC. We're not giving up the fight. We keeping the fight going. That's why you see every night as we have a time, we just come here and interact with the public because we want the public to know this, not because they didn't give you this victory, it's have another victory. We want it real bad. We want that next victory real bad. See the local election, we want that real bad. Just like how Tobago hit them a clean slate, we want to hit them a clean slate too. We ain't not no kick stick. You understand? We talking to the people out there, we interacting with the people out there, and the public know we serious. Because we have an employment program where we try to see if we can get the youth together and also see if we can get jobs and things. So it's things we're doing in the area where it never happened yet in this East-West corridor. Consider this development, and Mr. Lennox Smith is one of a million. To make things like this happen in the East-West corridor. Some people might want to give him his praise, but I personally will give Mr. Lennox Smith his praise. As I hear, my comrade, I speak so highly about you, because I know,
Well, let me tell you something. Let me tell you people, ability is ability. Let's not waste time. Yeah. And what will happen is that at the end of the day, the proof of the pudding is in the delivery. And I believe, of course, in less talk and more action. So what you just saw there was one of the action that we make sure that we have something going on in the background. Just a minute, let me just deal with that. Yes, man. So, all right, let me see if I can get this to rotate. Yeah, but the point is, my friend, that we have to deliver to the people, and of course that means that all of us must put our shoulders to the wheel and make things happen. Right, and that is what this is all about. Let me get back. But I don't think we need to go back there. So let me bring the camera forward so people can see us now. All right. Yes, man. So that is what the situation is. As far as the young folks are concerned, you would have seen me, of course, there taking some information from the young people. They have the little companies and so on. We need to encourage them. They are part and parcel of the community. And of course, as I said, we have a whole list of persons looking for work. And today, I am waiting, of course, on the deputy political leader to give an update to you. I will encourage him on the sector so that he will say or confirm what transpired. Having a meeting with, of course, the Minister of Labour today, Mr. Leroy Batiste. Yes, we were at Tower D, at the waterfront towers, yes, and we had a very lengthy and very informative meeting, of course, some of which I will not be able to tell you because he asked me to keep it confidential, but as far as the business of the employment center, and of course the facility that would provide, of course, things like food cards, etc., which goes beyond the whole question of the ambit of the Ministry of Labour. Well, of course, that too we will be pursuing. I think tomorrow we will be having, of course, on Friday a press conference to look at these and other matters. By that time, I would have already communicated with the Minister of Social Development, yes, that would, of course, assist us with respect to those other matters. That so whilst the grass is growing, the horse will be, of course, the horse wouldn't starve, so to speak. So it's in that context I am talking. My friend, I don't know if you have any questions that you want to ask me at this point in time.
You know, I know my deputy leader of Love went to a meeting today, but I didn't really know as yet what happened in the meeting because I was at my business. But I know that when the deputy leader come here, you know, the people are supposed to know what go on with the meeting, you know, and it's things like that. We really want to know how we reach, where we're going, you know, and what we are about, you know. So, as you say that he here right now, so I feel better. I give him closer to the seat so he can sit down with the Lennox sit more closer, so we will know what's going on.
Yes, of course. We have brought, of course, on the set the deputy political leader, who of course is here with me, taking his place, of course, in order to, of course, give not necessarily comprehensive, but certainly, of course, to say what transpired today with the Minister of Labour. And yeah, come on. Let me see that I can go. All right, I know I'm going. Yes, indeed. Let me just make sure that the camera is so. All right, that's the best we can do. All right, so look at the three of us carpet, so on the screen. That's all right, yes. Yeah. So, my friend, we had a wonderful meeting today. Let me just take this music off. So we had a wonderful meeting today, my friend, and I think me personally, it went well. I think the minister was very accommodating. But of course, we told him and we impressed upon him. And I think he was impressed too that already we have set up, of course, what we call employment facility, and of course providing other services as well, such as I said, welfare service, because whilst the grass is growing, the horse will be starving, and we know that, so therefore we have to be a little more comprehensive. So just to give the population and everybody else, of course, a sense of what transpired. Could you just enlighten us?
Pleasant good night. My political leader, Mr. Lennox Smith, the Honorable SC Prime Minister, Mr. Kamala Bissassa, my executive team, Mr. Ricky Taylor, Mr.
I lean on this
Singh.
side, eh? If you had to lean on this side.
I'm watching all the lean.
Lean by me, Is he opposite there when is he trying to No, not too close, but lean on this side. In that way, you will be captured in the picture frame. But go ahead.
Mr. Andrew Miller, to our secretary team is Mr. Mary, and the next secretary.
Yeah, everybody's here. The background staff. We prefer not to call any names at this point in time. But go ahead.
And the shout out is it was a great and a successful meeting today. It's so great that the Minister of Labour come from Picton, Laventille.
I didn't know that. I expressed my surprise as well.
And Mr. Lennox, you said Diego Martin.
Yeah, I said Diego Martin. I was surprised. I say he looked like a Diego Martin boy.
Right.
You know, partially or halfway or quasi sophisticated. I didn't know he was a total grassroots like myself. But go ahead.
Right. The meeting was based on the drive we started before election was employment, social welfare, food cards, and a lot of things. And the minister first tell us today, we thought we was trying to be ahead of him, but he was ahead of us. He said that his first role in labor is not to be a deadlift, it's to get employment and these things. So when my political leader, Mr. Lennox Smith, hang the paper, because you always have a big book. Lennox has always have a big book, a big binding book. I do this, oh yes, get them book. Like I have all the pages. Show them the page.
Go ahead. We'll take a read later, but go ahead, my friend.
Done already stamp out and written paragraph number 2 for him. He was shocked. Because Lennox itemized every single living thing. My political leader did. My political leader let him know we is on the ball to work with you, the coalition of interest. Right? In coming weeks, PNM mash up this party so much, this ministry so much, because they take the OJT, the NETCO, and other small entity, MICO, where we get interim payers, to get a little small money to build a business. They take it out from Ministry of Labour and put it into Ministry of Sports and Ministry of Youth and Development. So that is heartwarming that why 10 years, the little small businessmen like myself, I'm a businessman, like Mr. Ricky Taylor, them can get funds to grow the business. Because Foster Cummins had removed everything from Ministry of Labour. But thank God, my honorable mother, Mr. Kamala Bissassa, said that when we went, everybody went. So I hope we can bring back all them small ministry,
those entities, those
entities and department back to Ministry of Labour, so that we can have it under our body and the minister to work with us. Because we Laventille, Diego Martin, Port of Spain South, up to straight to Sour, we willing to work. And the minister is willing to work with us. And Mr. Lennox.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Of course, a very cordial, very knowledgeable, I want to say, and a very sagacious man. I mean, his eruditic nature, meaning that you don't have to use little big words and things, but it simply means, of course, intellectual, you know, erudite, a very intellectual person. And yes, indeed. And what we discovered is that that personality, some of which, of course, we are not permitted to share with you, because he did share some very personal things as part of his strategy to, of course, treat with communities such as this. And then when we learned, or I learned, because it was music to my ears, that he was a born Laventillian. In fact, he born on Picton Road, and he went to school, of course, in Bethlehem, of all places. And then, of course, we talk about Odeon and, of course, Royal and Pyramid Cinema. Old time talk. That is something that was something of the past. And then, of course, I think when we got down to serious business, I told him, and I referred, of course, to this letter, one page, well, there's only two pages, one and two in the back as well, where, of course, we outlined our expectations of his ministry, because we are not naive, but we know that, of course, if we go to the Ministry of Labor, we have to deal with labor matters. If we go to the Ministry of Social Development, we have to deal with social development matters. And if we go to the Ministry of Youth, we have to deal with youth matters, etc., agriculture, etc. But what he did ask, which I thought was a very, very important, is that he asked us who we spoke to already, because of course he didn't want it to be, of course, the one that caused us to wet his feet. But I told him that our presence there would have been inevitable, simply because we contemplated having, of course, an employment center before the elections, and immediately after the elections, of course, we have over 300 persons already registered for various services that we propose or have decided to offer. And then, of course, we felt a little more comfortable because, of course, it's obvious that he would have been the first target in terms of his ministry. But, of course, I did tell him that, of course, Alan Roberts, the minister in the Ministry of Housing, we did have some conversation. And the other more recent, of course, minted or minister, that is to say, the head of PEP, I'm talking about Philip Alexander. We did have some, and of course, we are in the process of inviting and or communicating with a number of other ministers. Tomorrow morning will be the first. We will be hosting on Friday, of course, a press conference to treat with all the matters. There are persons who are asking, for example, as to what role love will be playing in the government of Trinidad and Tobago, as indeed questions were being asked of PEP, and people who have been asking about COP, and they, of course, have explained. Well, I think we have a duty as love to also explain our role, what was agreed upon as far as the arrangement with the UNC, and of course the Kamala Prasad Bisesa, then of course opposition leader and head of the UNC, who invited, of course, entities such as ours to, of course, participate in this, what I consider to be cooperative, or should I say, efforts collectively to, of course, arrest the quagmire and the difficulty that the PNM has imposed, of course, on Trinidad and Tobago in the most egregious and wicked, diabolical, and almost slavish way. So those were some of the things, but let me just read for you the letter that was penned to him, and it reads as follows. This is the letter here. It reads as follows. Don't forget, of course, sorry for our tardiness in terms of introduction, but I was so excited tonight because I expected, of course, some young people to be here with us, as you saw. Well, they brought, of course, very ambitious. They said that they set up their own companies and so on, so I was anxious to see that. I did get one before, and now I have another one. And of course, we are looking at issues such as this to try to, of course, bring mass employment opportunities within the community. Those who say that these young people are bad, that they are unambitious, that they are destructive, you just have to look in the right place. You just have to give them the opportunity, and you will see that they will respond. Just as how those of us who are mature now and would have been, you know, at times as young people, you would appear to not know what you want to be, and you are in a state of almost limbo. Well, they are passing through their own process. The only difference is that today's world is much more complex. The availability of guns, the phenomenon of gang warfare, the question of borderline issues. I mean, and here it is, they are so unfortunate that they even, of course, have to tackle health issues, public health issues such as AIDS. And, of course, most recently in 2020, we talk about COVID-19. That was something that was foreign to, of course, we who would have been of a different era earlier, and did not have to go through all of that. So I am extremely sympathetic to them, and you have a sense of understanding that, you know, if a fella go on the wrong path, like would have happened even in my time, fellas will be gambling on the block and so on. But in those days, those gamblers or those persons engaging in what is called delinquent behavior would be the protectors of the community. Today, of course, we see some of them attacking the community, and thus, of course, we have these situations of what? Of home invasions, etc. But you were making a point before I go to the document to read for the audience. Go ahead.
My brother, as we speak over time and time, Mr. Ricky Taylor and yourself, time and time for the past month and the past 2 months, since we have this drive of coalition of interest, you know, crime reduced, robbery reduced, everything reduced under our watch in Port of Spain. I don't know if people really see it and give us our kudos for that. That you can come Port of Spain, all the people from all Laventille, from the Harp, from the 7s, the 6s, the 9s numbers.
It's as if borderline never existed. I've seen them coming to this very center. I want to ask where you hail from. A young man, he from Georgia, he from Picton, he at Belmont, and that was not the case. In fact, a young man just came from, I think, between Harp and Belmont and here. So they are coming from all geographic, what I consider to be strains or areas, and they decided because there is this new feeling of comfort, of security, of optimism, and all of them are doing things that are positive. I can't overemphasize that are positive. I mean, it's amazing. And the authorities, not too long ago, just before the 28th of April, will tell us that these youths ain't want nothing and that they are no good, etc. But let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night to welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night to you, Uncle Lennox.
Yes, man.
Instead of you.
Yes.
And to share the light to all the listeners. And we need the 40,000. And tell one and tell the other.
Yes, man. Tell each other, tell your enemy, tell your friend, there is something good happening in East Port of Spain, Laventille, etc. And that you should lock on every night from 8 o'clock to the best program in the night and possibly in the day as well. I am, of course, bashing the ground report, but the reality is reality. But go ahead, my friend.
So, Uncle Lennox, I have a basin full to empty out, but here what's going on.
Caller, just hold on. We have another caller on the main line, so you'll have to hold on a bit, right?
Okay. Yeah, so.
No, not you. Go ahead, Mr. Faizabad. Go ahead, Mr. Faizabad.
Yeah, so, Uncle Lennox,
yeah.
my basin full is tonight, is to let you, to set a word of a little direction. Maybe you might take it. But since you have an agency of employment and seeking to fill vacancies to get work for these individuals and your area.
Yes.
I think now it's time that it had the farm program in Canada with the labor intensive. It had the cruise ship, the workers. So is that you pen, a little pen to paper and to these companies and them and ask them.
My friend, let me just preempt you. Sorry about that, but normally I don't do that. It might sound rude. But of course, I want to tell you, go to the top of the class, because that's exactly what we spoke to the Minister of Labour today on. Those opportunities to tap into the farm programs, to tap into all of the resources. In fact, I suggested that a special officer be attached to our program so that we can of course share information in order of course to get the widest possible opportunities and the best opportunities for all of course according to skills or people who may not be skilled. So thank you very much for introducing that area, but that was a major topic that we went there to of course engage the Minister of Labour. So go ahead quickly, because we have another caller on the line. Yes.
And in that direction, we know that you will be the agent of vetting. Plus, it will be easier and faster to fast track the applicants
Yes.
to present them for employment. So the red tape and the 3 months, 4 months it will take. So by the time they get the certificate of character and they do the applications and you send it, you will able to make a difference. And in that way, the program will be efficient and it will run smooth. Because yes, so you will be the agent and you work with the ministers and in the different lines. So this is what I want to ask and say tonight. And I am to apologize because I just want to, because I know it's time now we come up with the way of getting the machinery started and working, because talk done, time to work.
That's right, my friend. That's right, my friend. And we are leading the way from Lavatel, from East Port of Spain, because I'm sure that people are still trying to get out of the box. Well, we are out of the box and, of course, up and running. Over 300 persons have already registered right here, of course, on George Street in our employment and, of course, human resource center.
So now, I just talk plenty. So I try to see if I can highlight a solution. It may work, but since you say it is a good solution, so it's time to come up with ideas to making it work. So Uncle Lennox, I will pause here for a pause and say, join Uncle Lennox from Thursday to Saturday at 8 p.m. for the current transformation with constructive talk and education and upliftment dwell.
Thank you very much. Of course, one thing, of course, that caller knows that has never happened before in the country. Pleasant good night. Welcome, of course, to the corridor transformation. Our good friend, of course, a true Lavantillian. I see the name pop up there, so let me say one time. Kingsley, a pleasant good night.
Yes. Good night.
Yes, man.
Jumping out into the 1 or 2 cents.
Yes, man.
1 or 2 cents, because I've seen some things where I'm not very pleased about.
Go ahead.
Because the people give this government a mandate.
Yes.
To clear up everything.
Yes.
And I have a problem with these people them who sit down on state board. They like they're rejecting the mandate. What the people give Kamala, she know, like they rejected it because she also give the people also give her money to remove all those 9 years all this along there.
Yes.
It's time for Lennox to be on our board now. It's time for Lennox to be on our board, very qualified. Leave now. We just go now and leave now. Everyone in the country now.
Very good point, my friend. That has been a running topic in recent times. Go ahead, make your point.
Because leave us. Lennox could be a good chairman in TSCT. He could be a good chairman in East Port of Spain. He could be a good program manager in the URP. We can help the people of the East-West corridor. So let's leave us. Let's leave us and go. Since this thing happened since 1962, government come. They build a contract. Every fine was wrongfully dismissed. Carry to court. We have money. We government carry to court. We can handle that right now. Carry me to court. Just let's go. Because I was saying, why Gypsy sit down there still on the seat? Because Gypsy was a former minister, former opposition, a Calypsonian. He told the world. I say what he waited for a letter to move. He should do the other thing. Resign with the head up because he don't know anti-vote man. He don't know anti-vote man. So he was able to resign with the head up. You want to stay so that a younger person that you could come to give you come on, man, Gypsy man, but thank God I hear you resign now because like it was here, miss. I said that you should have gone a long time. You're an extempo, you're a Calypsonian, you're a minister, you're a government, you're an opposition. You know the field, you know the politics. So why we have to embarrass Olio? Why we have to embarrass Olio? It's 9 years all you sit down there. It's 9 years all you eat and drink. It's time for UNC people to eat and drink now. It's time for UNC people policy people. I mean that the country, because we leaving none behind. But for we not to leave none behind, we have to put our people there to carry on our policies, because having these people they are agents of the last government. They are appointed and they are agents. So if we have to carry on our policy, we have to remove all these appointees from state board who are on contract. In the next 3-4 months, we have to clear it up and put we.
Yes, my friend. You finished? I was listening so attentively that I missed whether or not you have completed your presentation. Go ahead.
Huh?
Finish?
Yeah, these people they by the pay them, they go stop we, they go bring all kind of hiccups amongst them. So that's what, are you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, my friend. That's why I have not made any serious interruption, because I want people to understand what is at stake at this point in time, and that they should, of course, all the impediments and all of the hurdles in terms of people occupying space, political space, that they ought not to do, or on principle they should merely resign or evict themselves.
You didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay, look, KNM. They hire Sean Felix Oshi on our state board. The man passed a Google. I shower all them was on the East Side Plaza Mall, state board, the state mall. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's we time now, who fix like the business. It's we time now. We left nobody behind, you know. But for we to carry on our policy, we must put our agent there. We cannot leave PNM agent there who going to undermine me, who going to leak information out, who going to send information out to the opposition. We can't allow that. Because I see PNM reward the rewards. I'm saying this. Lennox Smith very qualified. Very qualified. And we have more people very qualified on board in the UNC. Can handle anything. So give us it. Remove them fast as possible. Because I see a minister working with a CEO who was there for 9 years. And she was there for 9 years. She was there for 9 years. It has people in the UNC, young, bright individuals who qualify and can be the CEO, could be a chairman, could be a member of a board. Very young and qualified. Why we still have, I see minister working with a PNM appointee, CEO. And I text him. I say, hey, it's time for she to go. Just so I say. I didn't care who vex. I say, hey, it's time for she to go. She was there 9 years under the PNM. And I know these people who was on the PNM, they were just like Rowley. They were just like Rowley. They could be Indian, African. They were just like Rowley. Because Rowley picked his bunch of neophytes on them. That's what he do. So I will make it clear. I will be calling out certain people who I know was appointed by the PNM, and if I seen them still moving with our ministers, because these CEOs, they could undermine our ministers and them. So I want to protect them by saying get rid of them fast as possible. So that's what I will leave it there for now. I hope I fill the cup of when it overflow at this time. So we talk again better after and get a call, maybe after the program will really.
Okay, no problem, my friend. No problem, my friend. Well, it's very rare that I give a round of applause, and I see my deputy political leader, of course, sense that we work with telepathy. We don't talk. We may not have engaged, but we know when something is good, it is damn well good. So let's give Kingsley, of course, a round of applause, of course, for that position that he has taken. And I left him to speak because I think he speaks truth to the reality of the situation today. And of course, I will leave it up to my deputy political leader to, of course, give his own overall view and assessment as to the argument that was made. It is only those who are sensitive and who have been in the vineyard of the UNC and the coalition of interests that will seek our interests and will execute our policy and are in the best interest so to do. It's certainly the enemy, which is the PNM. You do not expect the enemy to, of course, execute the policy of course, the UNC and the coalition of interests. My friend, go ahead.
My brother, Mr. Lennox, first thing first, I'm sticking to the point with the Minister of Labor. He said our trend is that love our neighbors. As in Tobago, share our love still. To my mother now, the Honorable Kamala Bissessa said, everybody eager to get Gypsy and their out and Lakes and that. Remember the swearing, Mr. Lennox, my Honorable Leader said, we will treat them, she's a mother. You treat them with kindness. They know they have to go. They will know they have to go, but we're so eager to push them out. We won't push them out. We're not the PNM. We won't go in no bully way to kick them out. And then we will take the time and they say they will have to leave.
But why it is that they don't realize that that is what they have to do and all of them should. Well, I am not saying, well, almost immediately or simultaneously make their departure in the most dignified of manners. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this discussion if they were so sensitive or they understand that the administration has changed and therefore they cannot be relied upon to carry out the policies of the new administration, and therefore on their own volition, on their own will, on their own common sense, they must know that they have to go. Go ahead, my friend.
And I say again, Mr. Lennox, remember they have a bully way, they tell us 10 years to tighten the belt. So them don't believe they have to go, them believe they want to stay. Them have a contract for 3 more months and they have this, but they know they have to resign. Looking, I sent a message to you this morning.
Yes.
About the Ministry of Youth and Development. With big money being contracted, 26,000.
Yes.
And these things, Lennox, come on. Them believe in their soul that Trinidad run under dictatorship.
It belongs to the PNM. I have heard that what I consider be misplaced, nonsensical, asinine, dotish, puerile, infantile, I mean, totally inane and maybe madness in terms of course, Trinidad and Tobago belongs to the PNM. But I want to tell them this. And somehow they say that Eric Williams give it to them. Well, I have always asked the question, who gave Trinidad and Tobago to Eric Williams? I don't know. But
And then, my brother,
nobody could tell me.
Remember these things. So, since after that election date call and we win, Trinidad live on love. My honorable mother is Koshi mother. Honorable leader said it's love. We not no more struggling on that. Since election we win, the place yet get light. Rain falling on time, sun shining on time. The place is looking blossom. You go in the grocery, you're buying items or 20 items for $100. You understand?
And all over is pui.
Yeah.
I went to the beach this weekend, gone, and all I'm seeing is yellow.
Everything nice,
beautifully yellow. Consistent with the sunshine and all, a little more yellow.
So I know Kings I'm excited. Everybody excited to get rid of everybody board. But on the election rally, all my mother, honorable, said is love. Is love. They know they have to go. We are no broomstick or no cocaine broom. They say it's sweeping time. We have oil love, oil live in peace. And peace we shall go, as the Roman Catholics say. So Lennox, read that document where we give the honorable
As you talk about cocaine broom and sweeping time, I see like all the cocaine broom turn yellow.
Oh my God.
I tell you. So it's sweep them out.
So Lennox, you see that? You said I see it. I'm so happy right now.
All right, okay, people, of course, the lines are open. Don't forget 337-6940. I know that, of course, you are so engrossed with the conversation. It may not cross your mind, or should put another way, it's not in the frontal lobe of your brain to, of course, pick up the phone and, of course, make your contribution. Don't forget, of course, we will take it on the handset as well as on the system itself. I think both of them are working. I'll have to, of course, to put some battery power on the phone as I see it showing signs of course, waning. But that being as it may, let me, of course, read the letter for you. Of course, it is dated today's date, the 14th of the 5th. That's to say, the 14th of May. All right, okay, we have a caller, so let's go straight to the line. There are some who can only get through the phone, so let's go straight to the line. Our President, good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Lennox, good night. Lennox, you hear me good?
Loud and clear, my friend. Loud and clear.
All right. I hear Beckle say tonight something wrong with Whitehall. And let the cameraman go in there and check. You think I'm not happy with that now, Lennox?
Yeah.
Prime Minister have three things she says she's going to do. Like to open the Cuba Children's Hospital, the DBA campus, and Petro Trade. That's top priority. So you say that Whitehall, I could say just over the time being because she's going in there.
I hear you.
Beckle saying there's nothing wrong with it. Let the government force you inside and show me the pictures.
Yeah.
What do you say to that? You hear me or you hear me?
Yeah, hearing you loud and clear. Repeat that again, Mayor.
Beckle saying nothing wrong with Whitehall. Right?
Yes, right.
I'm not happy with that, you know.
No, of course not.
Let cameramen go in there if you want to see what's going on.
Yes, that's right. That's all. And verify, certify, or refute.
That's right.
Yeah.
The Prime Minister says she have three things that is top priority.
That's right.
We hope the Petro Trade, the DBA campus, and the Cuba Children's Hospital.
Okay.
That's top priority, and
Yes.
that's what she has to go ahead with first.
That's right.
So they've got to talk what they want, you know, that.
That's right. Of course, talk is cheap. And of course, empty vessels make plenty noise.
And I see everybody resigning, you know.
Well, yeah, they have started because of public pressure. You have to force them to do the right thing.
You have to go there and then I hear blah, blah, blah talking.
Yeah,
If nobody want to hear you, you know.
that's right.
Nobody want to hear you talking about some crime plan well, Salvador. They come and do all kind of shit, you know.
I hear you, my friend.
You understand?
Right.
You already know. I suppose you want to know by now.
Yes, man.
When coming
Okay.
to commissioner of police, you know,
Yeah.
I told that already on the program, and
Yes.
I open come through.
Yes, man.
Johnny Abraham had to be the man. He's the only man could fix that.
Right.
The man just the man that do the job. This point where they have, you know.
Yes, man.
So we must come in and tell them, give information.
Okay.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And you know that as well as I.
All right, my friend. All right. Thank you very much, of course, for your contribution as usual.
Right.
All right, bye-bye. Yes, indeed, of course. So, yes, people, the lines are the line is open, and of course, we expect that you will make your contribution. Don't for one moment believe that you are interrupting anything. I know the conversation is sweet. I know the conversation is intelligent. I know the conversation is all-consuming. I know that of course, it is also enlightening. But the fact of the matter is that, of course, we want to get from you as well your own opinion, your own position on various topics, so that with that kind of synergy and that kind of course, input, we are able, of course, to come up with the best solution, cost-effective, preferably, in order, of course, to deliver to the people of Trinidad and Tobago the multiple of course, issues pertaining, of course, to human development, human existence in contemporary Trinidad and Tobago. But that being as it may, let me go straight, of course, to the document that, of course, that became the basis for the discussion today with the Minister of Labour. I'm talking about Leroy Batiste. And it reads as follows: the Honorable Minister of Labour, Ministry of Labour, Tower D, Rising Road, Port of Spain. The subject: congratulations on your appointment as a Minister of Labour. Let's go straight to the line because that is how it is. Thank you very much, of course, for your intervention.
Hello.
Good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hello,
Good night. Welcome.
Mr. Lennox.
Yes. Good night. Welcome. Welcome to the corridor. Welcome.
Welcome to the church. Further time.
Yes. You're speaking to Mr. Smith. Yes. Hello. What's happening here? Why is it mute? What's happening here? Don't you mute? Hello? Oh, she muted. All right, okay, well then, all right, so, well, of course, let me continue with that particular document. Congratulations on your appointment as Minister of Labour. Two, of course, a meeting to discuss our employment and human resource facility and a possible memorandum of cooperation. In invitation to visit. So those are the three areas that was slated for discussion. And then it goes on as follows. Dear Honourable Minister, let us first congratulate and formally wish you all success in your tenure as Minister of Labour, consequential of the advent of the new UNC coalition of interest government. Please note, MLIO LFL Shouter Baptist Learning Institute Resource Center is a culmination of collective efforts by three organizations coming together to impact and effect socio-economic and psycho-cultural interventions in the east of Port of Spain and the Laventils and environs communities. Indeed, these entities have had a very long relationship with the catchment area, all in an effort to ameliorate and improve the quality of life and standard of living of the area. We are the first to admit, however, much more work is to be done. So it's in that regard, of course, we are seeking that intervention and that cooperation and that, of course, solidarity with, of course, the Ministry of Labour. As indeed, we will be, of course, approaching the Ministry of Social Development, Youth and Sports, Agriculture, etc. But let's continue with this document. It is against this reality the specifics of the matters captioned are disaggregated for your information, clarity, and response. And of course, the one that we are looking at, a meeting to discuss our employment and human resource facility and the possible memorandum of cooperation. The other page, of course, will be as follows, or is as follows. Since the election, and further to our pre-election community-based intervention strategies, we had contemplated a dedicated employment and human resource facility to establish a database of potential employees and employers in both private and public sectors. B, extrapolate the skilled, unskilled, and of course training needs of the geographic space we are focused upon over the years. C, reduce unemployment in the area. D, increase spending capacity and of course quality of living of the area. Putting food on the table, in other words. And then of course F, reduce poverty. Very important. Reduce poverty. People in Laventil, East Port of Spain, are too close to the main center of this country, the capital, to be so damn poor. And therefore, in such circumstance, we are saying that the richness, look at the buildings. You can, of course, go in Laventil and take a picture of a latrine, for example, and you could put in the background the Twin Towers and any one of the major buildings in Port of Spain, including, of course, the government plaza. That is how close we are to Port of Spain. In other words, A person in Guaguari can't do that. A person not even in Sawa could do that. But of course, people in East Port of Spain can of course look at the rut that is taking place in East Port of Spain and put in the background. And in the background, of course, taking a picture, in the background you could see, of course, the financial towers. That is how close we are and how it is we can be so damn poor. So I think it's against that background we are speaking. The facility has already recorded over 300 persons seeking various services. In the circumstance, we are hoping that a memorandum of understanding or cooperation can be signed between us and the Ministry of Labour for a cooperative effort in both our interests moving forward. Yes, consistent with the government's goal of 50,000 jobs, etc., etc. Invitation.
Mr. Lennox, 55,000.
55,000.
You be taken away.
Well, all right, okay, 55,000. Let me be specific because the minister did correct me on that one. All right, of course, invitation to visit. It is our hope, too, that a visit to our facility located at 55 George Street can be arranged with your good self. We are of the view that such an occasion will attract a media event, thus, of course, promoting the objectives of the UNC Coalition of Interest towards meeting manifesto promises. This can be arranged on a date convenient to you, preferably on a Friday. We say a Friday because Friday is usually my own day, for example, and it coincides with, of course, a flurry of activities. People, of course, coming to get their weekend, let's say groceries, etc., their market goods, etc. Friday is a very important day in the East Port of Spain area. So I thought it was important to say specifically a Friday. So it will be up to the minister, of course, to choose which Friday he would want to visit and, of course, at what time. And then, of course, your kind consideration will be appreciated. Lennox Smith, coordinator. That is what we did.
Performance.
Today. That is what we did. So, and similar letters will be going, of course, out to other ministers and or ministries and or state departments or state enterprises that may impact on our efforts. For example, we are looking at East Port of Spain Development Corporation to, of course, look at infrastructural and improvement. Ministry of Housing, we are looking, of course, at revisiting or having another look at, of course, selling these apartments to registered families and or individuals who have been paying small money, but nonetheless for generations, and therefore that by itself qualify them to own the apartments. In that way, we are saying if the government, as they did in the past between 2010 and 2015, sign over and give these people the 100-year lease that is permissible, because the state can't sell land, but they can lease it. And none of the buildings that you see are under the auspices or part of the stock of homes and assets of the agency. None of them can sell as a private person, but all of them will have a 100-year lease. In effect, it's saying that you have it forever. Well, with that kind of approach, it means that they can go to the bank independently proud and with dignity and pride and say, listen, this is my collateral. I want to purchase a car. This is my collateral. I want to purchase another piece of land. This is my collateral. I want to send my son or daughter that is showing tremendous prospects to university. And those are some of the areas that I'm talking about. Of course, I've often said that around Carnival time, we must be able, because we invented Carnival, we invented mass, we invented the steel pan. How the hell we cannot benefit from it? And therefore, we are saying that when we clean up the social, what I consider to be a deluge of course, decadence, meaning that the young men are seen, of course, that they have an interest in not engaging in crime, not engaging in borderline issues, not engaging, of course, in gangsterism. Then, of course, it means that they will now be on the path to what? To prosperity and wealth creation. But let's go to the line. Pleasant good night. Welcome. We have a caller from Point 14. Pleasant good night. Welcome.
Hey, Lennox Smith. Pleasant good night to you and your co-host.
Yes,
and
man.
everybody else in the life. Pleasant good night.
Yes.
Lennox.
Hey.
I see something on the news today where I think Roger Alexander probably just looking outside the box in terms of the prison system. I think they was looking at Honduras. And I think the news was saying that if they go in that direction, it will have a negative impact on the country. Right? Because I don't know if it's in Gong Report or who program that they talk about the high crime rate in Honduras and what it is they did in the prison system. They come and they bring down the crime down to nothing.
Yes.
Now I want to talk to the people in the mood saying that thing is a bad idea. I want you to pay attention to this. So they are driving through Point 14.
Yes.
And two youth men arguing of some producers selling last night. One of them had a bag of pepper selling, and the next one had a bottle of water selling. And the two of them arguing. And one telling the other, but if you come on me by, you go down and sit down and I go make a jail for you, you know, sit down in the prison and make a jail for you, you know. So in this youth man, them looking at the prison as a 5-star hotel where you could go on a long holiday and come back out. But if you put things in place and show them the harsh reality of how a prison does operate, you would think twice not to do anything wrong to end up inside there. Yeah. So I thinking, whatever programs are having in the prison right now, it's too soft of making these fellas feel that they could go inside there for a little holiday and come back out. You have to treat a prison as a place for you not to think about going there a second time. This 5-star hotel mentality these fellas in the have, but I don't want to make a jail for you, boy, and then come back out. That nonsense needs to stop. That needs to stop. And I feel that we're able to address the crime situation in our country. But too much young people using jail as some kind of, I don't know what I'm looking for, refuge from the problems. So Lennox Smith, I know you are some kind of influence in these ministries and national security. They really have to take a good look at this thing because these young people in them today using the prison as a 5-star hotel when they do the ill-gotten, wrongdoing behavior. That needs to stop. Locked on and listen.
Yes, my friend. Yes, my friend. Well, of course, I am very familiar, of course, with the incident, or should I say, the development in that Central American country, where, of course, a whole complex was created, and all the gangs, of course, would have been incarcerated there, and, of course, under very harsh conditions, and they're treated, of course, like animals in a pen. And of course, many of them are very, of course, concerned about that development, but it seemed to have, of course, worked in terms of home invasions, in terms of crime and criminality, in terms of gang warfare, and of course, there is the consensus, and that's where I believe we should be going. That's to say, the population must say, listen, yes, we agree. Because, of course, in such human situation, some people may be innocent, and you see, and you want to protect the innocent. But to say that because you have a situation of crime, that you can act helter-skelter, higgledy-piggledy, willy-nilly, I think is something that we have to look at very, very carefully. And, of course, we must argue that we are not a large population like that of the country that, of course, has engaged in that kind of activity, and therefore we must look at alternatives, having regard, of course, to our democratic tradition, our love, of course, for human beings, and the right for people to be to be considered innocent until proven guilty. All of those are factors. And while, of course, it is nice to make reference to that particular country, the reality is that we are not, there are certain elements, there are certain factors, there are certain parameters that, of course, does not exist in Trinidad, and therefore I'm certain that we can find, for example, we have proposed under the corridor transformation the whole question of parental responsibility legislation. And what do I mean? I think, of course, this presents a good opportunity, of course, to explain once again. It is not, of course, if you look at the research, you will see that in California and Miami, and of course, that Hawaiian island, of course, belonging to the United States, where, of course, if a child, a minor, somebody who is below the age of 18, commits a crime that, if an adult did it, will, of course, cause them to go to jail, well, the parent is responsible for that particular crime. No, I'm not proposing that. I think that is palpably unfair. But what we are proposing is that if a child does such an act, that for an adult it will be considered to be a crime, a criminal conduct, like you chop somebody, you shoot somebody, you engage in robbery, etc. Then, of course, both parents must attend court. Both parents must attend court. I think that will begin the process of making parents pay more attention to their children, to their offsprings, and therefore, of course, trigger a sense of what I consider to be responsibility on the part of the parents to make certain that they know who the child goes to school with, whose friend they are, encourage them to, of course, attend the parent-teachers meeting, etc., respond, of course, to the school or the teacher when they would have been called because there are certain pattern of behavior, and, of course, when they are home, see to it that they monitor the child in terms of who they associate with, etc. I think that will be a very fair way of course, making certain that those young people stay on the straight and narrow. After all, it is, of course, the home, the family, and, of course, the immediate neighborhood. And then, of course, you can expand into other communities where, of course, learning takes place in terms of behavioral patterns that are inimical or not, of course, conducive to a young person staying on the straight and narrow, and therefore not gravitating to a life of crime. That is what we are proposing as a mainstay. Nobody has looked at it. I have put that, of course, to the Manning administration some time ago. I think it was about 2009 when he was all over the country looking for crime solution. And I think, of course, this government will be much more amenable. I will be, of course, sending that to the current Minister of National Security. We already have established what is called MLI, well, they call it Making Life Important, but it was really Mobile Limited Initiative. If you go right in Gonzales right now, you will see, of course, that sign there opposite to the community center. Well, that was the beginnings of it, but of course the idea was stolen, and because it wasn't their idea at the time under yes, I think it was it was under the UNC, frankly, between 2010 and 2015, that initiative was taken, but it was provided to Kamala Prasad Bisesa under plagiarized conditions. You know what I say under plagiarized conditions. So those who, of course, stole the idea could not have implemented it, and therefore it remained there as a white elephant. Well, I want to, of course, get the opportunity to revisit that. And, of course, in due course, I will, of course, explain what that MLI initiative means for communities such as these. And we can now, of course, develop a pilot project and replicate it to other so-called hotspots across the country. So we're going to be looking at that. I am just giving the minister time to settle down, and then, of course, we will engage. So quite a lot of initiative, quite a lot of responses to some of the social problems, but all in all, it is about making sure that it is done in such a way that it is sustained, meaning that it becomes part and parcel of the culture. Culture, of course, is something that is that is sustainable, something that is regular, something that is practiced almost automatically in perpetuity. So that is what we are talking about here in terms of course, responding to some of the socio-economic and psycho-cultural issues that plague Trinidad and Tobago, for which, of course, the PNM and Rowley and Sochong had no damn solution whatsoever. But we have it. And right here on George Street, we have seen, of course, the manifestation and the fruits, as we, of course, have over already 300 persons registered. What we want now is access to the Ministry of Labor, the Ministry of Social Development, the Ministry of Youth, the Ministry of Sports, the Ministry of Agriculture, and wherever, of course, these young people or those who we would have registered have an interest, we chuck them in, whether they have the skills or they are unskilled. We will know what to do at the appropriate time and get them the damn skills in order, of course, to upgrade them so that they can earn a decent living. My friend, go ahead.
My brother, my closing comment. With point 14, just speak just now. In coming weeks, you will see us have a symposium on the same station, same hour after 8, 9.
Yes.
As my political leader will designate the time, a symposium about crime. Because we East Port of Spain, crime is was high, very low now. But as you saying that to deal with the Minister of Homeland with El Salvador thing, that is a different batch or catch. So we will try to engage that sometime every week we will have a senior officer talk on the program for a little hour.
Oh yes, yes. All of that is part and parcel of the matrix of opportunities to engage. Yes.
My political leader, remember this. We is the front runners to take care of East Port of Spain. Lavantel for Lavantel. You have a heart for Lavantel, so I want you to capture that by next coming week or 2 weeks. That we have a symposium right here live with everybody, gather the troops. Nice one. And then every week we have somebody from prison, somebody from all the protected service, somebody.
Oh yes, we'll do that. Social development also, because you see, yeah, so we accept the fact that not only do we have these issues to address in these communities, but we also understand that crime is a multifaceted, multidimensional issue, and therefore it requires a corresponding response, multidimensional, multi-sectorial, etc. And therefore there is not no one fix scenario. In other words, we are saying that the police alone cannot solve the problem of crime. Let's not waste time.
So
police alone, because they have a particular function in the process, but not the panacea.
As the deputy political leader, I want a mandate as a political leader that we get some law enforcement, some lawyer to be on the program of the transformation, corridor transformation, and Alfred John every night to educate the people, because we have to work for the people too, not about employment too. It's safeguarding.
Yes, it's to address those very social issues that we've talked about.
Because we want to make, like, if somebody have a problem in the household, we must have somebody who could stand up and fight for them. This is not a bully government. This is a government that we love.
Yeah, people, of course, we have, of course, this is, as I said, 3 organizations coming together: the Mobile Lavantil Improvement Organization, Love Lavantil for, LFL Lavantil for Lavantil, and then, of course, we have the Shouter Baptist Learning Institute, all of which are Lavantil focused. The symbols of each institution is on the letterhead, so that there's a coming together, there's an understanding that there's a need, of course, not to reinvent the wheel. That being as it may, of course, as my deputy political leader would have said, he will be making his departure, of course, and income, of course, our business, should I say, representative, to, of course, take over and to, of course, give his own views as to what he has heard so far. I mean, you have been in the pavilion, so to speak. You have heard what transpired. Of course, we have just what? We just have about 20 minutes again. Let's hear your views on what you have heard so far.
Well, first thing, I I glad to know then the Minister of Labor hear our cry, and all these weeks and time with me and you and this program, it not been wasted. And the next thing I have to say, my deputy leader said something today, and it's really true. It had a little hiccups between, and crime kind of reduced because people hearing me. People hearing me, Lennox, my deputy leader, and people hearing me. They seeing I hope we doing something in the East-West corridor for them we did never get before in their life. Now then they might go by a minister or go by somebody and get disappointed. We doing something to make it work. And people still having hope and looking at me, all the who say there's criminals and wherever we don't want to put them, what I mean? And the next thing, a topic raised here tonight with home improvement. Home improvement with the crime with about
home invasion?
Not home invasion and Mr.
Oh yes, Mr. Alexander.
Mr. Alexander.
And this situation in Central America.
Mr. Alexander, I am vexed with this government searching for solution to see if they could reduce certain things, checking the person, seeing how they could tighten up, seeing what they could do in the system for the system to be very safe and people in the country be very safe. I'm vexed with Mr. Alexander for that because at the end of the day, we can't wait 6 months to solve something. We have laws and things in place. We can work with the laws and make things happen. We can work with them laws to do things in our country, to better our country and cool down the crime rate. Whatever idea you got and you want to put it in focus under your government, no problem with me. But I believe we have laws in place. We had to wait for 6 months down the line to make things happen in Trinidad and Tobago. That is the one thing I had to say. And the next thing I had to say, now, youths out there, we come out here to help you all. We come out here right now. As we say, we're not getting paid. Viewers, we're not getting paid, and we come out here to make a difference for the youth. Some people might like it, like the opposition, and some people mightn't like what we're doing to let the youths and them see a different side of the politics and the workforce. Some people might like that. But what I want to happen is the UNC government see the interest, what we're doing between the East-West corridor, with talking and interacting with the youths, and to interacting with whoever feel they can do about benefiting for the youths. We doing something. And if Mr. Alexander have better plans to solve the crime, you go ahead and do it in my boss. You understand? But right now we're interacting and we want jobs. Right? And and Hensley is a good comrade of mine. Kingsley is a good camera of
I
mine.
find your face on this thing. You ain't seeing a green in your full face.
Yeah.
Go ahead, yeah. Somebody didn't man.
Yeah, good. All right.
When you watch this, because they're seeing that,
Yeah.
and I think so.
Yeah, Kingsley is a good comrade of mine, and you know, Kingsley have good intention, and maybe the things he preaching for all these years, maybe it's happening through this love. And he realized something good is happening in the East-West corridor. So he had to touch base to hear what's going on. And Kingsley, I'm glad to hear your voice today. And, you know, the love between you is going on still, right? And, you know, I don't really want to say too much until, you know, let me say Lennox.
Apart from the round of applause that Kingsley's presentation would have given, because he did touch a very sensitive area, and of course I cannot overemphasize that when a government, when a party wins the elections, and I will bring, of course, the example of the greatest democracy or the mecca of democracy, whether you want to say that, of course, the United States would have emulated and the foundation would have been from England, being, of course, a colonial power at one point in time. The fact of the matter is that when administrations change, when parties change that have captured government, the previous administration and all of their minions make room for the incoming administration. That's a fundamental of our democratic practice. That is why Trump has his own people now. And that is why, as well, to put another way, Biden people had to leave. And when, of course, Biden people came in, because he won the United States presidency at that point from Donald Trump, Donald Trump people had to leave and Biden people came in, and vice versa as it stands today. No difference in Trinidad and Tobago. We have inherited what is called the Westminster system. First past the post, meaning there's a specific process for the electoral process. Who get the most votes to win the particular constituency, it doesn't matter whether they get, of course, the majority of the votes in a situation where there may be 3 or 4 persons contesting. But more importantly, winner take all. Winner take all, until, of course, we have another system where we can share the spoils. What we have today is winner take all. And therefore the UNC and the coalition of interest won the election by a huge margin of 26 seats. It means, therefore, that the PNM that lost the election but were there before must evacuate, must leave, must generate their exodus. And they must do so with alacrity. Understand that. They must do so with what? Alacrity, with speed. With speed, alacrity. And therefore, once again, I don't think we have to have another program tomorrow where we have to be discussing, or people like Kingsley have to, of course, express his disapprobation, his disapproval of that kind of misunderstanding, or put another way, convenient misunderstanding of the process. You are in URP under the PNM, then you know you have to leave today, irregardless of your circumstance. If it is that you were appointed by the PNM in political offices, I'm talking about here, because the delivery of the services will now be the responsibility of the new administration to deliver to all of the people, so that 5 years from now, the people will again adjudicate whether or not they delivered. They have adjudicated that the PNM did not deliver, and so they had to be dismissed. They have reposed their trust in the UNC and the coalition, and so the UNC and the coalition is now in office or in power. And therefore, any undermining activity, any wishful thinking that, of course, somehow you could still remain there and find some kind of what I consider to be amorphous, some impossible law to say you could stay there once you are in a political position. Haul all your tails, get to hell out, because that is your portion. And as I jokingly said today, if Gypsy and them want to stay there, then let them come to office every day. But of course the authority to pay them is with, of course, the UNC and the Coalition of Interest Authority, and of course ministers, etc. And let me see how they will get paid. They bound to leave by way of attrition. They can't stay there forever because they have no pay to get. I mean, it is madness. It is insincere. It is immoral. It is unethical. And therefore they choose that, then that should be. Of course, we will not be unkind to them. And they will come as everybody else in the society, and of course go to the Ministry of Social Development, go to the Ministry of Agriculture, or go to the Ministry of Community Development, go to the Ministry of Sports, like every other citizen, and they will get the service. But the political appointees that you have been elected to manage the affairs of the country for the next 5 years must be given the space and, of course, the non-impediment to execute their policies and programs based on their manifesto promises. My friend, go ahead.
I feel they're waiting for an XP, Lennox.
You're waiting for what?
An XP. The last pay.
A last pay. Well, I think the authorities will, of course, determine that. The new authorities.
Because I can't say, you know, that you have to get out there, the next party take over, and you still want to hold a high post. You trying to damage that party. So I believe they're waiting for an next play. They're playing game.
But it doesn't take away the fact that they cannot execute the policies and programs of the UNC, Kamala Prasad Bisesa, and the Coalition of Interest. That is an impossibility, so they should know that they have to go. But go ahead, my friend.
You know, we just talk about all kind of things, you know, and this program, but you know, as the deputy leader is speaking just now, you know, I know Mr. Lennox have them ideas in his head already, you know, to implement certain things on the program. And, you know, everything takes time, but right now, we are on this. We are in employment, and we are about bettering our community, our area, and we about this. Stop crime. Stop the killing. Borderline. We are about this. Breaking down borderline. I can't go here, you can't go there. You know, we are about love in our area. And I know this is the words I want to reach out to the black, and not I wouldn't want to say black, for the people in the East-West corridor. These are the words I want to go out. Love. Let bygone be bygone. Let we look fit. Let our youth come up and meet a better place and a better place. Let's
go to the lines. Let's go to the lines as per usual. We give way to the callers. Our Pastor, good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you, my friend. Good night. Yes.
And good night to everybody who's on the live.
Yes, man.
Good night.
Mr. Lennox,
Yay.
2 things.
Go ahead.
So let me start with one first. Listen, I have a suggestion. It's just an idea.
Go ahead.
Right? Now, we are into computers and all these kind of things. Okay? And we have a set of young people all over the place. You know? We can harness their energy, right? Get them involved in another computer. But what I'm simply saying is this. Mm-hmm. My suggestion is this. creating a space, like for example, like investment in terms of like creating software and hardware, right? Like a factory or something like that. You know, investing in young people and investing in that kind of idea of a business to enhance and develop young people and to develop business at the same time. You know, so our country could move forward, right? What do you think about that?
Well, every idea is worth, of course, experimenting with, and I'm using it very cautiously here because it could end up being the best thing since sliced bread. But you need to put everything that are positive into motion. So I agree with you.
I agree with you too.
Okay, I'm moving on now. Listen, I saw wrong by the hospital along there. I noticed that there's a Chinese place there with Chinese prisoners. What happened? Like Stuart Young and Rowley and them was selling out the country or what? Because why are these Chinese prisoners there? While our prisoners in our country behind on Frederick Street, they living in filth and squalor, but those Chinese prisoners and them have air conditioning and all kind of thing, and I find that kind of strange.
Well, I heard that. I heard that before, but never in the way that you have said that they're prisoners, because they seem to have one uniform. Those are the ones that were working on that hospital, that central block. That was, of course, a shell that the population was regaled with a camouflage of cotton ribbon. But of course, only they have this propensity to cut ribbon, and then of course the whole thing collapsed. We have seen, of course, with Naikwan, for example. He said it's the best thing since sliced bread. No other country in the Western Hemisphere would have, of course, turned diesel into, of course, environmentally friendly fuel. And then, of course, 2 weeks afterward, the whole damn thing blew up. And of course, it blew up a second time and killing, of course, an employee from Need and Mercy. So I'm just making the point that that is connected to the past administration. I know that the new administration will certainly want to investigate and solve that problem.
And
yes, Mr. Lennox, that needs to be investigated. Yeah. You understand? That's all I have to say for tonight. But the idea of computers and hardware and software, creating those things and developing a industry for that in this country, I think we should have a look at that.
Yes, my friend. Well, of course, I want to tell you, man, I did that when there was a serious concern about the digital divide. We had a facility in Juman's Drive, Coconut Drive in Melbourne. In fact, it was the first computer community-based facility in the country, because I went into Washington and I got, of course, the authorities at the university, the American University in Washington. I had a good friend there, Professor Bennett, who, of course, used his influence and got the authorities there to give me all of their used computers. And I brought them down to Trinidad. We had something like 20-something in all, and we began the process since then. That would have been, of course, in, a very long time ago, maybe in about 1999, 98, thereabout. But we began the process. Many people don't know that. And we began by, of course, exposing our young people to computer literacy, but more importantly, they would have mashed up some of the computers one way or another and encourage them, of course, to fix them. And we brought in people so to do to train them. So you're quite right, very good. In fact, I want to tell you, part of the upstairs of this building will be dedicated to that particular area. But beyond that, we are looking, of course, of the writing of programs, program writing, and of course getting some of the apps, new apps and so on that could be utilized, and of course a new industry could be developed as a consequence of that. So
yes, Mr. Long,
well said, and you are, of course, talking and referring to, of course, a very fertile reception.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Lennox, God bless. I go on.
I believe we can go at the top of the class.
Yeah, for that introduction.
Yeah, you can go on the top of the
I don't want to get there yet because of course we are dealing with of course skilled and unskilled persons at the center that we have developed here, and of course we are matching of course persons who have skill because for example we have about 3 or 4 persons who have already gone to who have gotten an opportunity to, let's say, trim or groom trees. For example, people want trees that may be overgrown and impinging on their neighbors' property, over their properties, of course. They want it cut. Well, we have been able to do that. That I consider to be, of course, not necessarily a highly skilled area. We have had, of course, people, very large homes, and want, of course, people to, janitors to clean, to keep the surroundings tidy. Well, of course, we have had that. But of course, when coming to things like, we had a call today from a lady who wants a data input and processing technician, if you want to call it that. But of course, that's a greater specialty. And therefore, when we looked in our database, we saw at least, 3 persons that had that capacity, one of whom only came in today. So we have, of course, to direct that person or those persons to that particular, let's say, business person who wants that kind of service. So you are quite right. We only have 3, but of course, by and large, most of them will have what I consider to be not too much of a specialized skills. What we want is specialized skills persons as well, in order, of course, to make certain that they get a higher return for their labor because they are skilled and they have learned a particular, they are specialized in a particular area that will fetch, of course, a higher return for their labor. So that is what we are looking at in terms of that. But it must be generic. We accept the fact that not everybody, like one fellow said, listen, I don't mind getting a garbage collection job on one of the trucks because in the night he works, he does, of course, a fast food outlet operation, and he would like, of course, to have another place where he can be employed in order to get another salary. So they are thinking very, very astutely to, of course, make sure, because, and he told me and also them, he said, listen, when I take the night salary, for example, at that outlet, and before I leave, I had to pay $100 to a babysitter for the night. That eats into, of course, the little kakada that I'm getting. But if I have, of course, another job, even if it, of course, is only daytime, because obviously he wants to keep the job in the night, he can now have 2 salaries, and that should, of course, generate some supplementing of his ability to live and to provide, of course, food, shelter, clothing, and especially food on the table for his kids, and of course, see to it that he can survive in this very hostile Trinidad and Tobago environment. So those are the kind of things I will bring to you, and I know that you are astonished. That is why, of course, you are not calling as frequent as the night before and the night before that, and so on, because you are amazed that is happening right here in East Port of Spain on George Street, and instead of fearing gunshots and other negativities, you are hearing, of course, very positive things towards, of course, human advancement, human development, and the transformation that, as we have said by our theme, that has started simply because Kamala Prasad Bissessar, the UNC, and the coalition of interests are now in office. Oh, what optimistic future we have. Yes, my friend, we are almost there. Yeah. It is what, 52 minutes? We have 8 more minutes, so well, maybe you want to make an intervention. I have a video to play as well, so we can look at that.
I want to put it to the Swiss corridor. I speaking when I now start. We need the local election. We need to go at it. We want all the seats. The UNC need all the seats. We need all the seats. We want to win the local election. That is one. So remember that people out there who hearing me in the East-West corridor and think we want to win that. And the next thing, you know, every day we have interested topic, food for thought, you know what I mean? And, you know, the man said something just now about the Chinese. It's up to the government to really see about that, because they was bringing here for a purpose, and where I know we was being robbed from the labor, we know people in this country could do certain skills and make sure things happen, and maybe they bring them in to do a particular skills or some kind of thing, but we've been robbed, and it's time for this thing to done. It's time for we to get back the employment. You see what we have to do right now? We have to put on names and try to see if we get employment for the youths who have been going astray. We have no other alternative. Saying here we're not getting work, nobody is studying me, no government is taking me on, no agency is taking me on. We have to live. We want to get that bullshit out of the head. We want to get that out of the head. We want to be real. That's why, Mr. Lennox, and we have an agency right now trying to feed the mind with in a different perspective. Say here we can live. All can live. We can do things for all to live. Right now we have a government where we can do work. We want them to work with us to better the East-West corridor. And I hope Ms. Kamala and she parliamentary representative and them hearing me out and following our development in the East-West corridor, and you all know we follow you. 100% and more. I know my leader here, and my deputy leader, we are for UNC. So that is all I have to say.
Yesterday, of course, well, at this time, of course, many of you may not have seen it, so, but I want to put things in perspective tonight. And I want you to know that, of course, under the campaign trail, we did, of course, make certain commitments. And I think the synopsis of those commitments would have been expressed in an address that I made at the St. John's Ambulance facility during the course of the campaign. I would want, of course, to share that with you tonight. If those of you who would have seen it already, well, of course, you would realize that we are consistent and that we say what we mean and we mean what we say. Those of you who have seen it for the first time, well, certainly you ought not to be surprised because of, again, the level of consistency, matching, of course, words with deeds. And I think that is what is important, and that is what people want to see at this point in time. Let's go straight, of course, to that particular introduction by my colleague on the ground report, Michael Kerr, who was one of the faces in terms of MC, in terms of chairmanship, in terms of masters of ceremony during the course of the elections. So let me just bring that.
Our first speaker for this evening, a man that I work closely with on the ground report, a man who is very humble, and he always sees the good in everything, and that's something that you can't take away from him. Now, they gave me a long list of things here, but I know this man from my heart, so I wouldn't waste time because we have a schedule. He's a former teacher of over 10 years. We call him the teacher. He's a community and social activist. He is the man that said that if he had the treasury, he'd dump it all on Laventille because he has that love, that passion, that commitment to serve the people. My coalition family, Port of Spain, please put your hands together and make some noise for the man, Lennox Smith, the political leader of love.
Everybody, when UNC win, everybody win. Everybody's a winner. When UNC win, Trinidad win.
No, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm a proud member, that is, of the coalition of interests led by the UNC and Kamala Bissessa. First, I must say, good look at people. Very important because the enemies are attempting, of course, to downplay the revolution that is Kamala Bissessa, the UNC, and that of the coalition of interests. We must be proud. We must say loudly. We must be forceful. And we must continue to say that nonsense is nonsense. And when, of course, you give us cacophonous babblings for what I consider to be logic, and the manifestation is not with the people in terms of their circumstance, we know we must tell them where to go. Go Rowley, go Young, go BNM, and give us a chance to breathe. Yes, indeed, give us a chance to breathe. But tonight, of course, very, very passionate, and I have a limited time, so I need to concise what I have to say in a way that will do justice to this august organization formulated and, of course, created by Kamala Bissessa. Very important to me. And I want to tell you, because there are those who believe that this is Johnny-come-lately and Papa party business. No. We have been here since 2007, man. We were part of the UNCA, man. Understand that. So those critics who believe that there is a pop-up something, I tell you that it could never be so. But you see me with a truckload of documents in my hand. It is merely part of my prop. I will not, and I cannot, and does not have the time, of course, to extrapolate. But what I wanted to do was to tell you, speaking directly, of course, to the Laventille community. Laventille must be part of the 39 constituencies that will vote for the UNC, Kamala Bissessa, and the coalition of interests. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We must. And there are those who believe that somehow we must not make the transformation. Some look at it as transgression. Transgression of what? Or from what? How could you and dare you say that Laventille must remain in this, what I consider to be quagmire, this devilish, naked abuse and retrogression that Laventille has been subjected to over the past several years under the PNM. And therefore we say that enough is enough and we must get rid of you. And we do so next week, Monday. I ain't talking 28 again. I ain't talking that again. No. Next week, Monday. Decision-making day. Next week, Monday, man. It's just not waste time. It's just not waste time. But I want to tell you this, because this is for the media, of course, that are here and wherever they are, because tomorrow we're having, of course, a press conference to, of course, address several issues. Because you see, when it is coming to, of course, moral and ethical standards, we cannot afford hypocrisy in high places. We cannot afford, for example, that Rowley tells us that when you are in public office, you have the highest standard of integrity, of transparency, of accountability, and then, of course, giving us some historical antecedent to suggest that somehow, when in 1962 we formed our independence and therefore our independent constitution, and then again, of course, in 1976, when, of course, we formed the Republican Constitution, that we would have come of age. But yet still we have our political leaders that would have been part and parcel of the natural, I shouldn't say natural, no, that's not the right word. I should say part and parcel of the consistency of managing the affairs of this country since 1956. And here it is today. We are seeing, of course, that organization has morphed into a criminal enterprise. Let us not waste time with that. The PNM is a criminal enterprise because one thing I would like you to evidence yourself of to prove that. One thing alone. Dr. Rowley came into the sphere of politics under a PNM banner and carriage and told us that he met a bankrupt PNM. He told us that. He gave us a figure. He told us that $5 million the PNM was owing. That is what he told us. And in 9 years' time, you're billing now a multi-million, 100 million and counting monstrosity called Balize House. That by itself tells me that that is hypocrisy in public office and that you have stolen from the people. That is blood money, man, painted in red. Blood money, blood money, blood money, blood. You see, integrity is important. Integrity is still important. And when we did the examination, after, of course, the PNM under Rowley, back in 2015, told us that the UNC thief, that Kamala is this, that Kamala is that of course, they're looking for them all over the place. Blue lights and silver bracelets. He introduced that in the political lexicon of this country. That's what he did. And then when we did the examination, and as my colleague would have said, and Master of Ceremony, that listen, we did the research, and we looked at it, and we looked at it on the basis, let me tell Trinidad and Tobago and elsewhere, we looked at it on the basis of mega projects. And when we looked, and mega project in the context that the PNM has been in office for 9 years, and therefore any evidence of corruption, nepotism, cronyism of the type they spoke, we would have, of course, or they would have had abreast of it because they have all the documents and all of the information since they control government. But guess what? When we look at the velodrome, the cycling velodrome, when we look at the aquatic center, when we look at the children's hospital, we still call it that. When we look, of course, at the debate campus, and when we look, the most poignant of them all is that of the 106 schools that Rowley couldn't find, and of course, the great and still great Minister of Education, former Gopi Singh, pointed it out in the Parliament of the country. Give the UNC a round of applause for being so damn honest. They cannot come with that hogwash now and regurgitating that again. They have to answer as to where they got the money from to build Balize House. And let me tell you this, Rowley is on record saying that not a contractor contracted under the PNM was engaged on that project. But let me tell you this, because I was the one had to do the research. And I want to tell you this, that, and I'm saying it on this platform, Jusamco was pouring concrete on that Balize House. Jusamco is significant to say Jusamco and identify that particular company. So not only did he say that, but when we match it with the evidence, it shows that Jusamco was pouring concrete in a big advertisement, so it's there in public for the public to see, observe, and read, and of course research. And you would see that it was pouring concrete on the foundation of that monstrosity called Balize House. There's a significant reason why I am pointing to Balize House as part of my presentation tonight. You see, it is Jusamco that got the contract to construct that piece of the highway that ultimately fell into the swamp below. It was Jusamco, of course, a member of the Junior Sami conglomerate, if you want to call it that. But very significantly, Balize House has been responsible for the decadence, the turmoil, the evil, the destruction of our young people, our homes, physical, our infrastructure, by way of neglect in Laventille and environs. That is where I'm going. And I want to tell them, tomorrow we are having, as I said, a press conference on the subject. Because you see, these fellas are hollow. I say that they are unashamedly dunce. They are unashamedly cowards. Because here it is. I have a document in front of me. I'm not going to read it. I didn't come here for that. Tomorrow in the press conference you will get it, but let me give you the essence of it. This is a pre-action protocol letter from Stuart Young, the current so-called Prime Minister, a total lame duck and a moron of exceeding proportion. And this, just the introduction, so you will have an appreciation. It comes, of course, from the chamber of Alistair Shea, Govan, and of course it says, Mr. Lennox Smith, of course, where I was before in terms of the ground report, I'm not going to mention that, but pre-action protocol letter. So it's coming from it's a legal document, and it said, defamation of Stuart Young, published on the organization that we belong to before, on May 13, 2020. And it says, just one paragraph, I instruct Mr. Anthony Bullock, we act on behalf of the Honorables Mr. Stuart Young, MP, Minister of National Security, and Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister. My client is an attorney at law, yeah, right. But with over 19 years of practice, he's also, and it gave us, of course, a number of things, including, of course, being in the Prime Minister's office. But the essence of this is that he said that we defamed him. We defamed him. And of course, we have another one with respect to, I have to wind up now, another one with respect, of course, to Rowley himself. Rowley himself, I sent a pre-action protocol letter to him. The man never responded. And let me give you the dates. This date is the 5th of October, 2023. White, of course, he sent in pre-action protocol letter and he taking everybody to court all over the place. And I calling him all kind of thing every night, every day, on the ground report, on corridor transformation. He would not respond at all. And of course, all of that will be revealed tomorrow at 10 o'clock at 55 George Street, where we have, of course, our information and, of course, communication center. Have a wonderful rest of the night. And let me say to you, Monday is here. Monday is here. Act as though Monday is here. And of course, when Kamala and the UNC and the coalition of interest wins, everybody,
When UNC wins, everybody wins. Everybody's a winner.
Yes indeed, yes indeed. And that was important of
Once again, please, for political leader.
Yes, indeed. I thought it was important, of course, to share that with you, to bring back, of course, that moment of glory, that moment of really and truly focusing on the interests of Laventille and environs. Because it is said, as Confucius said, that the famous Chinese philosophy said, the longest journey begins with a single step. And that was, of course, a major step that was, of course, implemented on the campaign trail before the 28th of April. And subsequent to that, we know that it is now history, 26 seats. I did predict, of course, then I did predict 39, all the seats in Trinidad. And I still believe that we have achieved that from the perspective that is a landslide. Yes, indeed. So, pleasant good night to all of you. Pleasant good night. And of course, we have come to the end of the program. See you tomorrow morning on the Ground Report, Andy, Mikey, and myself, as we continue with these and others. Just your parting words quickly before we make our departure.
Pleasant good night to everybody out there, worldwide, web, and everybody keep the faith. Things will happen in the East-West corridor. Trust me. That's what I have to say.
So we will end as we started, of course, with, of course, a nice piece of music of inspiration.
If you don't know where you're coming from, you don't know where to go. Love the culture and Anthony Selassie. Say so.
Long ago.
Long time ago.
Yes, long ago. Pirates had their fun.
See a buccaneers.
In the burning sun. 16 men.
16 men.
And a dead man's chest. Yo, yo, yo. And a bottle of rum.
Summertime.
Mama, she again. Is it a king? Is it a princess? So you see me generation travel through the stress.
16 men.
16 days.
And a dead man's chest. Yo, 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 yo.
Sounds kind of funny, but that's true.
Long ago. Yes, long ago. Pirates had their fun. In the burning sun.
More than mystery. Over the years, them all a try to trick we. No one cares about the poor black picnic. Down in the bottom of the boat, them zip we. Over with a polypa with them whip we. Don't even mention